Hey, how's it going? This is going to be an updated version of my tips video. The last one, there were some things I learned since then, and I've since beaten the game or gotten to the ending that they have right now. So I thought I'd revisit the tips video and put out some new insight, maybe some different opinions on things. And there's a few things that I've learned, which you'll see. So I'm in the game right now, and let's get into this. The first two things that are very important. Number one, pretty much everything in here is going to be my opinion and my perspective on how this game played for me and the problems that I ran into. Since I've gotten through everything, I checked out some other people's videos, and they seem to be having different, their bases are completely different. They have like death mazes and, big fortresses and stuff. Whereas mine was more of a two-sided battle, with the walls out here and everything instead of being a four-sided arrangement. But pretty much everything in here is going to be my thoughts and opinions on it. Your mileage may vary, and that's fine. If you have any better ideas, throw them down in the chat thing down below, and we'll discuss it and see what happens. Because I like this game. I think it's got a good, very good start. But the second thing is, ultimately, this is an early access game. Now, as good as this is, the way it plays right now, this is still early access, and it's still a bit rough here and there. Like, if you notice here, my last Horde Night was pretty rough. This whole section got just destroyed because the zombies were beating through the wall to about here, and they were just smashing through everything. So I had to just basically destroy everything as I went. Some of these were hard lessons. I don't know if the next Horde Night, if they just walk through the wall. I don't know. So there's definitely some early access issues with it. Some of the things I think are a little half-baked, and you'll see that when we go through like the traps and weapons and things like that. So at any rate, let's dive into this. The very first thing that I would start with, and the way this is kind of ordered is you start the game and progress through the game. Now, it's not necessarily the entirety of this, but that's how it's sort of structured loosely. So when you first start the game, I would start by putting in points into Novice Porter, which gives you additional storage, backpack storage, and Porter. Once you start getting over into Veteran and Master, those really take a lot of research points to get into, so I would definitely hit the first two as quickly as possible, and then add the other two as you can, as you get enough research. The other thing is it's Junior Builder. This gives you reduction. It reduces the amount of ingredients it takes for wooden buildings, stone buildings, and iron building, and then at the top it gives you a reduction of all of them, an additional reduction for all of them. So I would put also it gives you a faster demolish. I'm not sure if that means it's faster to destroy something or if you get 10% more from destroying. I'm not sure how that works, what the return rate means. But the first 4 perks or skills, whatever you want to call these, that I would put into is the Novice Porter, Junior Builder, and Builder. The other ones, the stuff like the Forest Worker and all that, additional damage to the trees and rocks, and if you're using a felling axe and all this stuff, I think these are all fantastic to get at some point. And then, of course, the blacksmithing area to get some better weapons. The lightsaber is really good, but it's a master blacksmith. The big one you're going to need is the engineer. You're going to need at least the first 2 engineer. So when you start the game, get your points into the builder and porter as you can, and get engineer worked up in there. Those would be the top 6 that I put my points into, because the trap machine and gears in the engineer slot are crucial. You have to have those. So you're definitely going to need to get those in there, but you also are going to be running into limitations of storage and everything else. So you're going to want all of these kind of at once, and some of the rest of the combatant and all that stuff, you can put all those in later. Just work on those first 6. Now, the next thing I would talk about is, as you start off, you're going to be looking at weapons. In one of these cases, see all these M16s and and AKs and stuff in here. I've put, like I said, 30 some hours into the game. Here I have stacks of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 rounds. And I've already blown, say, 100 rounds like in the first couple days. So, in my opinion, these guns are not the thing to be using in this game. They're a waste of time. Because if you go look at the material cost it takes to build these things, let's get in here and craft. Where's the bullets? It wants a copper ingot, number one, which is super rare and hard to find. Rarer than it should be, I think. And then the iron ingots are tough to find, but not as bad. And then gunpowder's like everywhere. But that copper ingot is tough. That is a brutal cost to pay for this. What I've enjoyed is the spear. I thought that was a good weapon. And the crossbow. There's a crossbow in the gas station somewhere near where one of these places start. And once you get the crossbow, that thing does work. And of course the spear I had for a while. I put the lightsaber on. This thing actually is pretty cool. It doesn't do as much damage, but you can walk around in a circle just quickly nailing things. And when I hit the prison, I just kind of charged in and just started wailing on everybody, and it worked great. It's fantastic. I really like that weapon. Of course, it's a crossbow for ranged. I would not do the AKs and stuff. There, I think the cost for the bullets and everything. If you get free ammunition and have them for an oh shit moment, that's fine. But if you have to craft the ammunition, I don't think it's worth the cost. It's just totally not, especially when the resources don't come back. So you're just going to deplete everything off, and then your copper means traps, your copper means the radios to get out. You just lose so much by burning that copper up. Of course, the upgrades, I'm going to link below if I remember to do it. There's another YouTuber that did a great video on all of the different upgrades for your pouches and things. Like if you hit these, you have to have so much... where's one that I have not upgraded? See, I've upgraded pretty much everything in here. This one still uses a rabbit skin and rabbit bones. So to get to +1 of this, I just need to have a rabbit skin and a rabbit bone. But as you get further along, the level 2 stuff, which I don't have one, everything's going to +3, I guess. You start needing boar skins and sparrow feathers and sparrow bones and stuff. Eventually you get into needing duck and eagle and raven and probably bear and deer and stuff like that. So I believe all of the items here can go to +10. But you're going to need all the different animals. You're going to need all the different bones and skins and all that stuff to upgrade these. So again, I've played many hours without upgrading a lot of this, and I would recommend getting the pouches upgraded because that makes your stacks in your inventory bigger. So you definitely want to get at least +2, +3 on those, which is pretty simple because it's like rabbit and fox or something like that, which I've got those dollar a minute. What I'm trying to say is I got a lot of them and it was easy to upgrade them. Now getting this other stuff like the boar skin and the wild boar, there are two different pigs in the game, I believe there's one that's slightly pink and one that's more gray, and I think that's the difference between the boar and the wild boar. I'm not sure. I have not bothered to upgrade any of these to that point because I don't have sparrow bones. I don't know where those are. So I would recommend getting the pouches upgraded and upgrade some of your weapons because the upgrades themselves, like on here, oh, it doesn't say. Oh, it does. So you get an extra bit of damage, a little bit less weight, and some faster attack speed, which I'm not sure that weight does anything. Although I would say that if you're running with this, with this spear, and I switch to, it almost feels like you run a little faster with the lightsaber. So I'm not sure if weight's taken into account or not. I don't know. At any rate, we're going to move on. So we talked about upgrading personal storage. Animal traps. Get those animal traps out early and often because if you notice up in the upper left here, it says I need a special bait trap. To get this trap, to get this trap, I needed to get large meat. And this was hard. I mean, you have to kill a bear, a boar, something like that. Deer doesn't count. Deer is just like mid-level meat, and I was just running out. I didn't have enough material to get it, so I've been on that special trap for, God, I don't know, 20 hours, 15 hours. I mean, the first few things went quick, and then that's just kind of sitting there because I just didn't have the parts for it. So get those animal traps out. Look out for signs that say bears nearby, because you can. I believe you can trap bears. You can fight the bears too. It's an interesting battle, but you can fight them. Those might be your AK moments, something like that. But get the traps out. Get the small animal traps. Get you meat for the big animal traps, and put the big animal traps around in different locations. I did have, up until this part of my base got ripped out, I had a bird nest up here. People were saying the bird nest was bugged. I don't know if it was bugged so much as it wasn't working like they thought it should. It almost looks like it attracts the birds and then you have to shoot them, versus the traps that catch the birds. So I'm not sure on that. I didn't really. I put that up like the last couple days, and I was so busy trying to get off the island, I didn't spend enough time with it. But I'm curious how that bird thing works. I probably need to try it out and experiment with it. But at any rate, get the traps out, and also, as I showed you, all those parts go, they give you food and everything for healing and all that, but they also go into your pouches and weapon upgrades. So you need all of that out as quickly as you can early on, so that you just get all of this built. And the next one is, man, this is where I'm going to say this is an early access game. This chest is very cool looking. We're going to talk about storage here, basically. So if I go to this console, it says it's for storing raw material items. All right, cool. The problem is it's only got this many slots. It's very small. There's no way to upgrade it. That's it. That's all it holds. So the material you spend to build this thing, you can build a whole bunch of these. You know what I mean? And these have all this much storage. And there's various storage units for, like, the closets for guns and stuff like that. The small is for the same thing as the console. In my mind, these aren't worth getting. The storage box is the only thing worth putting these into, because you can upgrade it and it holds a lot more. Like, this is the second upgrade, and it still holds quite a bit, but it's not just the single row across the top. And this holds all of this, so in my opinion, don't waste your time on those boxes unless you want something that's cosmetic, which they are cool looking. And if you're going to set up a nice looking fort, yeah, you can do all that. But to me, if you just want to get the job done and get a good quantity of storage, use these storage boxes. Skip the rest. Stick with these, unless they change something in the game, which is very possible. Like if these had deeper pockets, like you could store 200 items instead of just 99 or something, that'd be great. But with them limited compared to these, I can't recommend those. You know what I mean? Use the regular storage box. And coming from the aspect of starting the game, let's see here. Let me get into the map. So when you start the game, I started somewhere, I don't know, maybe up in here, up in this area. I don't remember exactly where it was. But wherever you start, I think a friend of mine was playing and he started somewhere down here. My point with this is, here's the school, here's the hospital, and here's the lab. These are all very close to each other, and they're very good loot. Lab especially, you get a lot of research points out of it. You get a lot of things out of the hospital too. And the school's kind of it's not as good as the other two, but they're all so close to each other. You can hit all these right off the bat in the first week or so of playing the game, like the first 5, 6, 7 days. Hit those up quickly and you're going to get a lot of loot. You'll get some AKs and things out of there. You're going to get a lot of research out of there, especially the hospital has a ton of research, as well as the lab. School was okay again, but because it's so close, you can just jump in there and get all of that fairly quickly. The other thing too is, as far as looting goes, you're going to run out of copper quickly. And the only way you're going to get copper is by busting down cars or hitting up the black rocks for the iron. If you hit up the gray rocks, they're going to give you granite and stuff like that. They're not going to give you copper. And you really need the copper. So you want to look for black rocks or cars and break all that stuff down. Zombies, I think, might give you some copper. You might get some from looting inside buildings, but your best bet for copper is cars and black rocks. If you need a lot of like tree limbs, I need tree limbs constantly because all these traps take tree limbs to recharge. So tree limbs are the small bushes. The best source for those, I think, is the small bushes. Just run through and hit those with an axe or a knife or whatever and just knock them down. You can even knock them down with the lightsaber here too. A couple swings at the level that I'm at, it takes a couple swings and you're good. So that's kind of my thoughts on looting. Stamina. You've got this yellow bar for stamina, and as you run, your stamina drops down. Once you hit the bottom of the stamina bar, you actually start taking damage for health. Your health starts to drop. It's kind of slow, but it does drop. So you want to keep that in mind. When you're running, watch your yellow meter and just stop and walk every once in a while. You can make it. When I went down to here, this chemical plant, and actually the prison over here, when I went down to these areas, I ran this whole way, and I would run, walk as I needed to, and you can get to these spots in about 2 hours of the game. So I'm on hour 15. If I left now, I would be around hour 17 when I got down there. So it takes an hour and a half or two, somewhere in that realm, to run there. It's like 5-10 minutes of real life time to get there, but don't stop running or don't stop moving, but run when you can, let your stamina come back. Don't stop, but just keep moving, and you can cover these large distances very quickly. And then swimming. If you've not experienced swimming, a friend of mine, I've 30 plus hours into this game, and I have yet to actually die. I've not died. I don't know what it's like. I've never seen it. I stay behind my walls here and I let the traps do the work for me. And a friend of mine's died multiple times. And one of the deaths he had, like right off the bat, was in swimming. If you hold the shift key down while you're swimming, you will reduce your stamina very quickly, and then your health will drop very quickly once that hits bottom. If you're running on land and you run out of stamina, your health will start dropping, but it's kind of slow. If you're in water and you run out of stamina, your health bar drops like a rock. And if you just don't hold shift down, just move forward, you will move through the water a longer distance than you can without running out your stamina. You will still lose stamina as you go through the water, but it won't run out as quickly, and you definitely won't hit your health. So be careful in water, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now, when it comes to base building, one of my 10 tips was to upgrade to concrete as quickly as possible. Definitely get that upgrade to concrete by day 6. These are all concrete foundations now, and you'll notice here I've got metal walls up, whatever they call these, the fence, the protective wall. This is what it upgrades to, is this chain link mesh looking stuff. So get everything up to concrete at least. I have had 0 issues with concrete, and in fact I was kind of surprised that these went to this mesh, but it's nice because you can actually see out. And I upgraded these just the other day because I have so much metal left over. I had no issues upgrading. So definitely get your concrete upgraded, or get your wood upgraded so it doesn't burn down like I had in my video. Speaking of that, if it does catch on fire, my 10 tip video had that you can demolish the thing. I didn't realize you could just repair what was on fire. So I've had many people point that out. And unfortunately, once you make a video, it stays there. It doesn't change. You can't really alter it. So people keep telling me, yeah, you can just repair it, which I know now. But once you upgrade all of this stuff, you'll never see that problem again, or you may never even see that problem in the first place. So I would also highly recommend, like, see how I've got all this set up here? This is ugly and brutal, but You can get up on top of these traps. My favorite traps in the game are the ones I can walk across the top of, because while the zombies are attacking these, I can repair and reload all day long and they cannot hit me. I've got, the windows set up. I've seen some other people where they set up, one guy I was watching has a really nice setup. He's got like a foundation here, and then this foundation is slightly lower. So the windows are kind of in the middle, and he can reach through and hit the traps on the other side. So the shredders and all that, he can actually reach inside from relative safety and do the repairs and reloads and everything on them. So I thought that was cool. This tip is basically saying build something in to where you can reload and repair your traps as best as you can without going out into the horde. You won't take any damage from doing this, and if you protect it right, it's easy and you just keep fighting all night long. Well, your traps keep doing all the work. Don't be afraid to demolish something and try it different. You'll notice these stick out in here. That's because I came over here and stuck some shredders down underneath here, and that's why I have that bridge across. These compressors were sitting in here, and I thought, you know what? It'd be kind of neat to have shredders going across here, which I don't think I'm going to go all the way across. I forgot about needing bridges and things, so I could do like every other or something. There'd still be a gap. But don't be afraid to tear things down, because you get most or all of your materials back, and then you can just move it somewhere else and redo it. So that's what I've done, is push that out. Now I've got these little portholes out here, so I can see what's going on outside. I can look in over here, and of course over there I can look this way. So I kind of like that. And also, you want to build these walls up, something up along the side. Zombies will jump up on top of here, and that's not pleasant. So I've ran into that a few times. One tip that I had, somebody gave me, was that you build all of your storage and crafting and everything somewhere away from your base. So I tried that, and I built it over there in that section there. The problem was the zombies spawned over there and then beat the shit out of everything over there and killed it anyway. So I was like, well, shit, So I came over here and started this base and built all of this inside of here, and they still get in through the damn wall. But at least I don't have to keep rebuilding. Knock on wood. I haven't had to rebuild a whole lot of this stuff. I had to, of course, rebuild this back row up here. But at any rate, you might want to go like way out there up top. Get it away. If you're going to build all your crafting and storage, get it away. Far away. Not like somewhere in here, because that's not far enough. And it may depend on your location. Like, you may be able to get a different location that works better than what I have here. One thing that, this was definitely something that I learned. If you hit T to upgrade, it brings up this prompt. If you hit T again, it attempts to upgrade what you've got. If you don't have the materials, it won't work. But if you do have the materials, it will perform the upgrade. I don't have the stuff to do these. But double tapping T, if you have the materials, will let you upgrade walls quickly. Instead of having to hit the T button and then click upgrade, you can just double tap T. Talked about building up against the fence and everything, and the zombies clipping through. That is a current issue. I don't know if that's going to be a future issue, but something to be mindful of. Okay, let's go over traps. For me and my experience, my gameplay, my fan is going crazy down here. It is not happy. Of course, I got the windows closed and can't run the fan, but at any rate. So, traps. I absolutely love the compressors and the pendulums. You'll see that's what's all around here. Shredders are probably my second favorite. Actually, I like shredders the most. But to incorporate them into this base, I would need to redo things, retool some things, which I have some ideas on. But I like the compressors and the pendulums because you can walk across the top of them, do the repairs right up here. You can also attach bridging to them, so you can put gaps like I've done here. You can put this gap in, put a bridge over it, and still put that shredder down underneath. I love that. I love the ability to work up top. If you go through the trap list here, The barbed fence is good. I like that. I've used it around my base. You can actually see it down here. I've got runs of it. The problem I have with that is they can sometimes go through this or over it and then still beat on your wall. So you kind of have to get away from that. The other thing you have to do is, or I've seen, I didn't say have to do, but the other thing I've seen a lot of people do is put like a minefield of those traps out front. But the spiked floor I've tried, I kind of like. You're supposed to be able to put it under pendulums, but I think you have to do that on a foundation because they've never worked on just grass. I like cutters, but again, kind of like shredders and stuff, it's tough. You can't, they only have so many uses, and unless you have a method of getting through a window and reloading them, it's tough to use. You know what I mean? The shredder I really love, but again, it's down on the ground. The cool thing about the shredders, it's got like 100 uses, and it just ticks off a few uses at a time. So I think it's good bang for the buck. It's just low on the ground. The guillotine, I like the guillotine a lot, but you can't get to reload it easily. I actually had some guillotines around my compressor. One of my compressors, I had it on 2 or 3 sides of it, and that was nice because you get the guillotine shot and then you get the compressor shot, and the guillotine reloads and then drops again. So it doesn't necessarily run out as quickly as you think it would because it has that reload time. Or recharge, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, compressors and pendulums. But the big problem I have with guillotines is they're just smaller than the compressor, so you have to get down to go fix them. You can't fix them from up above as easily as you can. Ranged traps, man, I am not a fan of these. I love the spike launcher and I love the flamethrower. Like my first base defense, the spike launcher and flamethrower from the first few days, man, that thing, those work, man. I built a trebuchet because you're supposed to for the one of the missions on there, but I faced it the wrong way and it never fired, so I didn't know what it did. I do not like these. These cost a lot in resources that you're going to need for other things. So the sticks and all that to make these, you're going to be running up against, you need all of that to build your base and everything else. So all the ammunition is just that much more of a drain on everything. So I didn't care for those that much. I have not tried any of the barrel bombs, landmines, angle traps, bait trap. I didn't even bother. I've seen some people use the trap door. What I kind of envisioned was that you could stick it on the ground and they would just fall through. The problem is what you need to do is build 2 sides and then put the trap in the middle and let them fall into like a spike trap or something underneath, or some shredders or whatever. It kind of just lets them go and drop. And it's okay. I've not used it, but I thought it was okay. And then the animal traps, like I said earlier, you need these things out. Okay, so we are getting on quite a bit of time here. This might be 2 videos. We will see how this edits out. Of course, I haven't shut up. So the last thing I'm going to talk about, and this might be a separate video on its own. In fact, yeah, I'll do that in this video. This is spoiler free. These are just recommendations of things to think about when you get towards the end game. Like I mentioned before, hit up the lab, hospital, and school quickly because those get you loot. The further out points like the chemical plant and the prison, you can get there in one day. Just as soon as Horde Night gets done, take off down there, skip everything along the way, and go get your stuff. You can also move around the map if you want. Like if you want to pick your base up and move it, you can try that. I thought about doing that. I don't know how well that was going to work, so I didn't bother. And then I found out you can just run down there and back within a few hours. So I'm like, all right, no big deal. The map coordinates, if you want to know all the locations, I mean, I've pretty much ran through them all and shown you everything on here. I do want to do a end game video, so I'm going to have that, and I'll go into more detail there. The biggest thing that and I don't think this is going to be spoiler territory, but I will just say, you're going to need a lot of copper to complete the story. So you can build all the traps you want, you can do all the cool things you want, but at some point you're going to probably need 20 or 30 so copper to get out of this place. If you want to do the in-game escape, it's going to cost you some copper. So you're going to definitely need, and I had to go, I got all the way, I went somewhere, found something out, and then came back, and I needed copper. So I had to go through another horde night and then go looting the next day all over the place trying to find copper. It's not bad, it's not hard, but man, you really need a lot of copper in this game, and they don't really, it's real stingy on giving you the copper. So at any rate, I hope this has been somewhat helpful. I don't know if I'll have another one of these at all at some point. Maybe if they finish out some more early access on the game, I'm not sure. I've definitely loved the game. I've enjoyed this a lot, and I have some ideas for maybe some other content that I'm going to do. I don't know. I kind of want to see what Horde Night 20 looks like for this base, and I can add a bunch more traps onto this and see how it goes. So we're going to see how this series I've got going develops. But at any rate, that's my tips for this. That's my last round of tips that I'm going to do for a while. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And again, if you have any information that's helpful or whatever, put it down below. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.